I just grew up a huge fan, and then it just didn't leave me. I had other ideas of things to do, but ultimately it was the one thing that just kind of kept pulling at me. And then next thing you know, Kevin Matthews, I didn't know this gear or this wrestler existed. Tom Marquez. And Kevin's like, you really should wear this because it looks stupid. He's like, you're going to get heat right away, and nobody has that gear. In 2019, getting a chance to go to NXT and get in there with Keith Lee, the East Hampton Polo Boys, had a match, if you want to call it that, with the Viking Raiders, wrestling my big brother and main mentor, Dan Maff. He took a liking to me. Whenever we would team, it was fun. It was fun for what it was, though, for sure. I'm a stocky individual, and I wrestle very aggressively. We just clicked and came into our own. And then for me, it just kind of became like a reevaluation period. I took some time to really just work on myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm fired up for this one. Nikos Rikos, thank you so much for joining me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm pumped. I said it. One of the guys that started watching at 12 years old. To see all these years later, you're killing it. Thank you for everything. I've told you nonstop, but this is like 8 months in the making.
Yeah, this has been quite some time. That's why I'm glad we finally got to hammer this down. I know we've been going back and forth for quite some time. I think almost since my return to the ring.
I was before that because the day I texted you was the day they announced Fight Factory you were coming back.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. For Fight Factory. So that would have been July, because I came back to the ring in April.
They announced you, though, in I think it was April or May for the Battle Royal.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
I'm fired up for this one. So when we talk pro wrestling, you've done so much in your career, but originally, what was it about wrestling that made you so involved in it and want to get involved?
It's not the most sorry, just one of the Fight Factory podcasts. They've known me for a long time, Dave and Chris, but Dave asked me, and I wish it was like almost a, not really, but like a more, like a different story, but it's kind of routine. I mean, I just grew up a big fan my whole life. I mean, I was a WCW kid more than WWF, and especially Goldberg. I mean, for those who know me, this tattoo originally was Goldberg's tattoo.
Wow.
And then I got it, worked on and covered up and extended in a way so that, God forbid, an opportunity came, I didn't have to worry about that, like I know Wade Barrett had to do because he had Goldberg's tattoo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just grew up a huge fan, and then it just didn't leave me. I had other ideas of things to do, but ultimately it was the one thing that just kind of kept pulling at me. And then I had to give it a shot by the time I was 23, and now I'm 35, and here we are.
So you originally start off, you mentioned it with Robert Stone or Robbie E, and then you go to, I think at the time, is it PWS?
Yeah, I went to PWS after a little bit of training with Rob, and then yeah, PWS eventually rolled into WrestlePro, Creative Pro New Jersey. Yeah.
When you first started, whether it was Robert or anyone at PWS, what are some of the biggest lessons that you learned from them?
It's the same thing that I was just at the school yesterday, where now Sean Donovan and Leo LSG are the primary coaches. I'll go keep the rust off, work with the new kids, get some reps in. It's the same thing that I was jumping in and telling them last night with Donovan. Some of the biggest things I learned was really like the little things. So just, and it's the things that I watch wrestling for when it comes to, not just as a fan or whatever, but just as a performer, like seeing the little things that, like, some of the guys I look up to and whatnot do, or just picking them up. Like, I mean, for me, I know, like, I look at certain guys, even if I'm not their size, like a guy, like I've always been, it's not a bandwagon thing, but I've been a big fan for years of Killer Cross. And I'm not a 6'5" jacked guy like he is, but his mannerisms in the ring, his facial expressions, are something I look to. The way that a guy like Randy Orton moves in the ring, the ferocity of a smaller guy, because I'm not on the bigger side. When I watch a guy like Pete Dunne or AJ Styles, or back in the day Taz, guys who weren't big, or they had some size, but they were more so able to make it work for them and still be aggressive, even though they didn't have that size. So it's all these little things, whether it's things I can adjust to my character, my size, my facial expressions, things of that nature. Yeah.
Talking about adjusting your character, what is the inspiration behind the gear? Because recently, I forgot when it was, you went viral again. What was it, back in May? You got a huge shout out. What is the inspiration? The one arm singlet in the pants.
You know, originally when I started, I was this gimmick. I just created the name Siler James. Siler was just because I loved the way it sounded. It was from this villain from the show Heroes back in the day, and James is my middle name. Um, and I just was kind of like doing this, I don't know, cocky gimmick. I guess I was, maybe I thought I was like Dolph Ziggler. And then it came time to like have a character. So PWS had this idea for Nikos, and I was just gonna do like a high singlet, like a Taz or a Sammy Callahan at the time, and then I ended up switching into trunks. They wanted me in trunks, have an old school look, almost like a Gunther,
Mhm.
like no knee pads, very wrestler like. And then next thing you know, Kevin Matthews, I have to give him credit. He's the one who sent me this gear. I didn't know this gear or this wrestler existed, but in ECW, this guy had a cup of coffee. His name was Tom Marquez,
Okay.
and his gimmick name, I believe, was the Prodigy,
Okay.
and he had a very short stint. I bring that up to guys who know wrestling, and they even like, who? And Kevin sent me a screenshot of him, and he was wearing that exact gimmick, but in purple. And Kevin's like, "You really should wear this." I was like, I don't know, that looks kind of ridiculous." He goes, "That's the point. Is it looks stupid." He's like, "You're going to get heat right away, and nobody has that gear." And over the years, I've gotten compliments. I did a seminar and a match in front of Tyson Kidd. First thing he said was he was like, "I love the gear." Bruce Pritchard once watched one of my matches and he was like, "Love the gear." Like the gear is just something that it just looks so off the wall and ridiculous that it gets a response immediately without me having to do anything.
Talking about early on in your career, I'm curious for you when you look at it, what would you consider Nikos Rikos' first big opportunity in wrestling?
I won, even though I wasn't oh, whatever. I was 2 years in at this point, maybe a little more, and I was put in a rookie battle royal. I actually have the trophy over there behind me somewhere, or no, it's right there. And it was like to re-debut me, and under Nikos. So that was a big one, winning the battle royal. It was the birth of the character, and I won this big trophy. Um, in terms of, I'm sorry, you asked for like big moments.
Or big opportunity for you?
Yeah, I mean that was one I remember. In terms of like an opportunity or a moment, I mean for sure it would be in 2019, getting a chance to go to NXT and get in there with Keith Lee. That same year, not as Nikos, but with Bobby Wayward as the East Hampton Polo Boys. Had a match, if you want to call it that, with the Viking Raiders. Did a little extra work in another segment later that year or the next year with Seth Rollins and Owens and Joe and the Authors of Pain. I mean, anything like that is going
Yeah.
to take precedence. Um, but there's been other opportunities. Wrestling my big brother and main mentor, Dan Maff, for the first time was really big for me. So, these moments come along where like, oh shit, I'm wrestling this guy now. And that's a big opportunity. I'm in the ring with like Eddie Kingston and Sanjay Dutt and like just these guys. Like, so the WWE one, especially NXT, because that was a single match as Nikos. I wasn't put in different gear. I wasn't given a different name. And that's what culture wrestling recently had cut a clip. I was in good company too. CM Punk and whatnot, I think was on there. Triple H. I
Yeah.
forgot exactly who, but um, to be in that company and they said I had some of the worst gear ever, I'll take it.
How was the experience for NXT at the time? Were you flying out to them? And for you, how did you keep Nikos? Because even when Payne went, he had to change to like Rip Ramirez or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got there. I mean, I flew down there after getting the extra work via, at the time, one of the guys who was big behind the scenes, Eric Katz, I think his name was,
Mhm.
and William Regal
Brian
and
Katz?
Brian Katz. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how it happened. I just know that. they just told me, okay, you are just put on your gear and you're you. I was like, oh shit. They spelt the name a little differently.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of think it was actually a little cooler the way they spelt it. But yeah, they put it like on the Tron too. I was like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
actually like me. And that's a rare opportunity. I don't know. Nobody told me the why and the how. It just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about for your career, I don't even know if you know this. At one point, was WrestlePro trying to build a trios division because you and Team España, the first and I think there are only two ever trios champions.
Yeah, they were building a trios thing for a while. I couldn't name off the top of my head right now. I think the Carinos and Buster Jackson at one point were in there as well. It was like random assortments of trios.
Okay.
Like I know there was one match where Espani and I faced off with like Kevin Matthews, JTG, and I don't remember who their partner was off the top of my head. And then there was another match we had Mario Boccara, and La Resistance. So there was like just that night there was who was going to be the trio. So they had like a mini division going there, but it wasn't something that lasted too long. But I'm proud to have teamed with them. They're good guys, and I'm proud to have won the trios championships. Yeah.
Was that your idea or their idea? Or WrestlePro just came to you and paired you with them.
That was WrestlePro's idea.
Okay.
They're like, we want to put you guys together. I was like, cool. Like, spot on the card. I'll take it. Yeah.
I remember at the time, I don't want to say it was like the first of its kind, but WrestlePro was doing shows with TNA at the time or Impact Wrestling. I remember Brace
Yes.
for Impact. For you, is there anything that stands out wrestling Pepper Parks and Allie?
Yeah. I mean, it was just such a fun, easy match. They were so easy to work with. It was an easy story to tell in the ring. I was nervous, going into that night. Shout out Nikki Adams, who was my tag team partner that night. There wasn't just the idea of like at that point I was like I still get nervous, but
Yeah.
see like oh shit, this is a big opportunity, and just seeing how easy of a match it was to put together. Because so many guys tend to put their matches together and they think of 500 more things to throw in on top of the 500 things they've already planned. And this was just like a learning lesson in just keeping things simple, knowing your spot on the card, knowing what the match needs to be, and not having to go over the top with it. Like
Yeah.
serve your spot. It was a mixed tag match. It didn't have to be, WrestleMania. It didn't have to be a 5-star match or whatever. We knew our spot and we delivered, and it was a solid match. Yeah.
Looking at WrestlePro, for you, what does it mean to be the WrestlePro Silver Champion? Obviously, look, I think it's second ever behind Dan Maff, but for you to be the Silver Champ, what did that mean for you?
The biggest part of that for me was taking it from Dan Moth. Uh, he had just finished a match with PCO, like a crazy hardcore match, and I just talked about this on the other podcast too. And I was dressed up as like an EMT, and I attacked him. I took all the shit off, revealed it was me. So it was like a cool, like this is something I would have seen on TV, like a guy like Shawn Michaels, and he was the cameraman behind Kurt Angle or whatever it may be. So just that whole moment of, and I actually went out earlier in the night to kind of get the fans used to seeing this EMT come out. Somebody needed like medical attention. I came out in this hat, glasses, long hair, and it was a way of just if any fans were paying attention or subconsciously to make note of, oh, that's an EMT.
Yeah.
So it wasn't looking weird like by the end of the night, like who's this random guy getting in the ring? Like it just looked like it was another EMT. It was such a cool moment, and just to do it with Moff, to take the title off somebody who I've always been so close to, like to this day, and the relationship and the connection that we have, that alone was just like such a moment that I was able to get crowned by face beating him, not really facing him, but taking advantage.
What stands out? You mentioned on Fight Factory podcast, Dan Maff. You've wrestled a lot of guys, shit locker rooms, a lot of people, have a lot of mentors, but what is it about the connection with you and Dan Maff, you think?
He took a liking to me
Okay.
early on, just in practices when he was there a lot. I think, seeing just how aggressive I was, and that I was never, and I'm still this way, I was never half-assing it. And then he just took me on the road. It really was, he just started looking after me. He saw something in me. He was always giving me ideas. He still does that to this day. Um, so that was just something he just kind of chose me. He was like, I see what you're doing. I see you're working hard. You're aggressive. Um, and he molded me from there
Nice.
with how to work. Like I would never compare myself to him, but I work similar to him. Just like a very tight style, a very physical, like you're gonna feel it when you wrestle me, but like I want to feel it in return
Yeah.
as well. Safely, but
Yeah.
like I'm down. I was just talking with Donovan about this last night. Like I'm down for, exchanging and feeling that physicality. And that's something I took from him. And, nothing against other guys. They can do 1,000 moves. They could throw a bunch of backflips in there. I know when I do a couple of my like strikes, and people see it and they hear it. Like I just heard recently, I gave this guy Dave Goldie, really good wrestler, a shot to the stomach, and these college kids went from booing me and fucking around with me to like, oh shit, when they heard the sound it made,
Wow.
and they never saw my hand. No offense to anybody else, smack my leg. It was just a pure organic, safe pop to the stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at your career, checking off boxes, you got to do something a lot of people wish. What was it like originally? I know companies are starting to do it now, but originally wrestling in Alaska, what was that like at first?
Oh, I mean, I've been on 3 tours with WrestlePro to Alaska.
Nice.
And I mean, that was just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to Alaska. It's being covered. I'm feeling like, oh, is this what it feels like to be in the WWE or
Yeah.
TNA or whatever? This is before AEW. So it was one of those things I was just like, wow, like this is a cool feeling as is. But then actually going to Alaska itself, it felt like you were in like a different world almost, like with all the scenery of the mountains behind you and just how like hospitable
Nice.
everybody is there. It was a really cool experience, and the fans were craving wrestling because they still don't get a ton of wrestling outside of what they have there, like from 907 Wrestling. But to give them that and bring some stars with us as well, like Bret Hart, Jay Lethal, Cross and Scarlett, like things like that. Like it was cool to see the excitement of these people who don't really get that often.
Yeah. When I look at your career, it was short-lived. What was the idea team went Andros as? What was the original idea, and why was it so short-lived?
Maybe with who?
Andros the Greek, what was it, OPA?
Oh yeah, Andros. Yeah,
If you
yeah.
remember, I got you booked at like 13 years old for a show in Rhode Island.
That's right. That was the show.
It
That
was
was
Watch
a
This Fight.
Yeah. Was that the show that was they were raising money?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep, that's right. No, that just me and him just we did a few shows.
Okay,
We wrestled for the Samoans in up in C4 in
nice.
Pennsylvania as well. It was great to team with him.
Yeah,
We're still friends on social media. It was just one of those things where like whenever we would team, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but we didn't like really like actively, I guess, pursue that as much as we should have and or could have, whatever. And he did eventually step away, and I mean, he looks like he's doing good. I mean,
yeah.
but
He
it
was
was
a
fun.
content creator now.
I think so. Yeah, it was fun for what it was, though, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. When you talk about that aggressiveness, who thought of the name the Spartan Pitbull?
that was me.
Nice.
Um, Obviously the Spartan part. But then the Pitbull part is because I'm a shorter, I'm under 5'10". I'm a stocky individual and I wrestle very aggressively. So, and I really get into it when I do it. So I feel like that, and I love dogs, I love pit bulls.
Yeah.
So just that short, compact, gonna hit hard. It's not about jumping in the air too much for me. It's not about, no, I don't mean this in a bad way to anybody who doesn't, but backflips and going off the top rope. It's being grounded. It's being aggressive. Um, I do grind my teeth a lot when I'm in the ring. So like showing my teeth and all
Yeah.
that. It just seemed like the aggressiveness. It's like when you
Nice.
think Pitbull, you think like aggression and
Nice.
whatnot. Yeah.
Talking about your career, ISPW, former ISPW Tri-State champion. For you, is there a match of defense that stands out? You got to wrestle Vincent, Seidel, Carino, Donovan. You've impressive.
Yeah, all those experiences were great.
Okay.
The latter match where I won the Tri-State Championship is one that I remember. It was Carino, myself, Donovan. I don't remember if anybody else was in that match. I can't. I'm drawing a blank if we had more than it might have been just
I
three
think
of
so.
us.
Three, yeah.
And that moment, like I've had a couple ladder matches before that, but that moment with those guys, two of my closest friends in the business. and I remember we had a good match. I remember I flipped. I rarely do that. Like I
Wow.
ran, I did like a little whatever front flip out of the ring over the top rope. Like every once in a while,
Yeah.
like throwing one of those things there. It just seemed like, okay, this is a night where I could do something because I know the two of them aren't going to fly. Not that they need to, or that anybody needed to in that match, but that match stands out just for that moment as well of winning the title. But working Vincent, working Seidel, yeah, it was tremendous.
Nice. Now you have had such an impressive career, but I'm curious for you. You started to mention on Fight Factory's pod. Was there like a defining moment for you where you decided you're going to take a break from pro wrestling and step back?
No, not really. It was
Okay.
just I took some time off. There was a couple injuries that I was going after. And then for me, it just kind of became like a reevaluation period where I was like, well, do I want to keep doing this? Because there are certain things going on in my life that were going really well, and then not so well. And then I took some time to really just work on myself and exactly what I wanted out of the next phase in my career and my life. And I went back into watching. I was keeping up with it, but really went back into watching wrestling again. And I don't think you're ever fully out.
Yeah.
Like when you love it, I don't think you're ever fully out. You find some way to get back in, or whether it's you're back in the ring or you're coaching, whatever it is. For me, it was getting back in the ring. The itch was there to go back in. I felt like at the time I wasn't in great shape, so I got myself in better shape. And then, yeah, it was just like the itch. The itch was there again.
When you first sat out, did you think you were going to come back eventually, or when things are going good, did you not really care about wrestling?
No, I felt like I was going to come back.
Okay.
It was something where people would ask me, I'm like, no, I'm going to come back. I was never truly like counting it out.
Okay.
Um, but it was one of those things where like I was reevaluating and I'm like, okay, I really do miss this. Like, it even seems weird sitting here now that I even had questioned it.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that came along with the journey outside the ring
Yeah.
and working on myself personally and realizing, okay, I missed this. I want to be back in it. And now that I'm back in it, I feel happier than even I did my first time around.
Wow. How long was the time you were away for total?
A little over a year.
Wow. So what's the moment that makes you come back originally?
There wasn't necessarily a specific moment.
Okay.
There could have been. If there was, I couldn't tell you. Like
Yeah.
I remember, like I would put on like you know a PLE or something, and then I would be getting into. I'm like, fuck, like I really, damn, I miss this. Um, there wasn't really any like one defining. Okay, like I knew I was deep down. I knew I was going to come back, but there wasn't like one final push to go ahead and do it. It just kind of built up over time.
You talk about fitness and you've talked about now you're having the most fun. What is the biggest difference from Nikos Rikos before and when you came back?
It would be the character.
Okay.
The character is still Nikos, but I found a different avenue for the character. I wanted to start making more serious videos, vignettes, and whatnot. So one of my buddies, he's also a client of mine. He's like a little brother, Tommy Angelo. He's in school for film, and we have our own podcast, our movie podcast, the Reel Riff Podcast. And I told him, I said, I want to start to make more like cinematic looking videos. And I was injecting some real life shit in there as well as just what I thought worked for the character. And that has helped me find more of the character,
Yeah.
implementing this kind of manic, almost like psychotic state and whatnot. Not that I'm really walking around like that,
Yeah.
but it was channeling some personal stuff as well and just elevating it. And as a result of going down that alley or those alleys, like I found a different side of the character,
Nice.
like a more aggressive side, or more. And even when I go to like a practice, it's one of the things like we try to tell the younger slash newer kids is like, don't waste any motion. Like when I get in there, it might be a practice, but I'm entering into a drill or a practice match with the same type of intensity and focus that I would have if I was getting in the ring. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of that is a credit to what I've been doing with the character recently.
You mentioned the Reel Riff podcast. How long was this in the vault for, and what were your original goals? Because nowadays everyone has a podcast, but you guys have been doing numerous episodes. You post movie reviews ASAP. What was the original vision with it?
It's something that just came together. Like I felt like I'd always wanted to do a podcast. I didn't know exactly what,
Okay.
if it was going to be a fitness thing. And then Tommy's a kid that I just continue to get closer to over the years. He's like a little brother to me. I know his family, and we were just talking about it one day, and it's something that was in the back of my mind. And he was like, "Would you want to do one?" I was like, "Actually, yeah, I actually really would." And to discuss movies, like those are my favorite podcasts. I love wrestling podcasts. My favorite ones though are movie podcasts.
Nice.
And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Like, and there's right now, it's not like there's these gigantic aspirational goals of where we want it to be. We're just doing it and hopefully putting out videos and content, audio and video that people enjoy. And if it continues to grow, which is the goal, then awesome. We're not focused on anything monetary or anything. Hopefully that comes with it. But right
Yeah.
now we're just focused on enjoying it and putting out the best quality out there.
When does fitness come into play for you? When did you like start to do interest in things you love? Because this could be me being a mark. I think it was like Tuesday nights you used to have like a WrestlePro crew or something. You used to train
Yeah.
them.
The way that fitness came into my life in general was, I mean, I had always been heavy. Food is still just like a struggle for me. Like
Yeah.
I eat relatively clean, but I'd rather be eating pizza and shit.
Yeah.
It's just the way my mindset
Yeah.
works. And at 15, I lost a good amount of weight. I became a trainer at 18, so I've been training for 17 years. So I'm 35 now. So actually, yeah, this month, and come to think of it, somewhere in the month of November,
Yeah.
it's like officially 17 years.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks. But yeah, so that just heavily worked into it. And then with wrestling, it's like, oh, okay, great. I'm going to put my knowledge and my training in the gym into that as I still do. It's always evolving. And yeah, at my previous studio, we did have a class where it was like for the wrestlers, for the
Yeah.
boys, the girls, they'd come in, we would do like a boot camp style class, have fun with it. I would help them as best I can with their cardio, their strength, whatever it may be. So yeah, it was cool to combine those worlds.
Talking about it, when this records in November, either drop in December, January, for you, 2026 in pro wrestling, is there anything you sought out to do? You mentioned on Fight Factory start getting out more, but what are the goals for Nikos Rikos?
Continuing to hit the road
Okay.
to gather some more bookings. Um, there's not this immense pressure I'm putting on it right now. I just want to continue to, just get more and more reps in and whatnot. And definitely in 2026, at the time of this recording, the goal is to continue to work for bigger companies to branch out more.
Nice.
Uh, so to expand like the resume and
Yeah.
whatnot.
If someone was to ask you, is there a match that defines your career, you'd say?
A match that I've had,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say it was probably the first time I got in the ring with Dan Maff, which was during like a free show. It was at like the Edison Fall Festival.
Mhm.
It was me and him. It was the first time I was wrestling. I feel like at that point, somebody that I looked up to, somebody who was like, "Oh shit, I'm actually wrestling Moff," and we had a pretty long match, and I mean, everybody loved it.
Yeah.
I was again early on in my career, but that was like a good opportunity to be able to wrestle him. Since then, we've had multiple matches, and I've been proud of all of them. But that particular one, that was like the first night where I was like, "Oh shit, I'm wrestling Danny."
Yeah.
Like this is a huge deal for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about huge deals, is there a moment would you consider, you mentioned Danny Moff, but moments that you would consider your biggest tests?
That was one. Anytime working with somebody who is coming off of TV,
Nice.
or if I went to
Yeah.
TV, like I said with like Keith Lee and the Viking Raiders, um, but anytime getting to work somebody off TV and see how their brain works for putting a match together, and then there's guys that I'm close with, like peers of mine that I always looked up to. Like first, I see this guy almost every day at the gym. But like first time I got the chance to wrestle Matt McIntosh,
Yeah.
that was I wrestled him. I don't even remember. I don't think it was WrestlePro. I think it was for Titan.
Mm.
Um, during COVID when there was outdoor shows. So it was like 2020, I guess.
Yeah.
And getting a chance to wrestle him because I always looked up to McIntosh, getting in the ring with guys like Bowens, Bobby Wayward, Mo, so guys like that, even like Pat and whatnot. Like me and Pat had a couple different matches for different companies. Like those opportunities, besides the TV guys, to be able to work guys that I learned from and I was training along that I also looked up to.
Nice. You mentioned Bobby Wayward and you mentioned wrestling the Viking Raiders. How was the experience wrestling them and being the East Hampton Polo Boys?
I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
Devon Dudley was the producer, the agent
Nice.
for our
Yeah.
match. Paul Heyman at the time, I believe, was the head writer
Okay.
of Raw. So, we got our clothes on, and Devon had to walk us to Paul and make sure we looked good and looked the way he wanted. He loved it. I know Xavier Woods and Cole Cabana both shouted us out on Twitter. I
Nice.
think Xavier Woods was the one who said, like, hashtag East Hampton Polo Boys for life.
Nice.
Um, so it was just fun.
Yeah.
And just to go back to those moments, like with Keith Lee, that was the first time in terms of being in that spotlight. And then with the Viking Raiders, I think they're the War Raiders now, right?
Yeah.
They went
Now
back
they
to
are.
the War
Yeah.
Raiders. Those moments were interesting because as big as they were, maybe it's because the matches were really easy, like simple, they were squash matches.
Yeah.
But those moments I remember thinking like, oh, this feels right. Like I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
Enjoying this. Like during commercial, Bobby and I, to his credit, I think it was his idea. We were at ringside in the dark during commercial, and Bobby and me started like massaging each other and stretching each other and just being obnoxious, checking
Yeah.
each other's hair, just trying to be like extra preppy and extra obnoxious and like a couple of, righteous doofus kids from, East Hampton.
Yeah. Well, Nikos, I can't thank you enough for doing this, and thank you for doing for everything in general. However, every interview of Best for Business has ended the same. The day you decide it's all done pro wrestling, which isn't happening anytime soon, 2026 is going to be big for you. But the day you decide it's all done, what do you want your legacy in pro wrestling to be?
Good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. The legacy, one of the first things that just came to mind was if there's a way, and I'm in a stage of that more so right now than ever, where I'm helping younger wrestlers coming up, especially through WrestlePro.
Yeah.
I recently wrestled one of the newer students. I wrestled a bunch of them actually on different shows, and one of them, Juan, is Juan Hernandez.
Yeah.
He, after a shotgun show that we did a few months ago, he came up and he was like, I've been following you for a long time. You probably don't know this, but I think he said like I've been following you or we've been friends on social media, so this really meant a lot to me. And I remember being in those moments, wrestling guys like Danny, like McIntosh, like Mo, like Pat and whatnot. So I think as of right now, and this answer can always change,
Yeah.
legacy wise, I think helping some of the guys coming up. Again, not that I'm in like a coaching position at
Yeah.
WrestlePro. That's Sean, that's Gio, Pat drops in and whatnot, and so the other guys like Danny. But um, being in a position to help guys. Now, who knows? That could change in a few months.
Yeah.
I may say I want the legacy to be more. I mean, ultimately, if people remember me,
Nice.
I think
Well,
if there's different kids, adults at shows or whatever that remember me and they're like, oh yeah, I went to that show and like I remembered that guy with the weird gear who I don't know made fun of me, yelled at me, whatever it was. He had a really good match. Things like that mean a lot to me.
nice. Well, talking about full circle, I can't thank you enough. I'm pretty sure I draw you a picture too at one point.
You did, yes, you
Wow.
did. It is stored away.
I have your sign somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, I have a lot of stuff from over the years. It's probably at my
Yeah.
parents' house in the attic.
Nice.
Just because I've got stuff like stored. I almost don't throw anything out that's a memento. So I know it's somewhere.
Yeah.
I should have it. I do know it's somewhere though.
Nice.
So I should have it on me right now.
Sorry.
But I definitely have it. I mean, look, we've been going for about a half hour. Let's you got a few more questions? I have some more time.
Well, I'm
Let's
curious about how was your experience? You talk about originally looking at Fight Factory Wrestling. I forgot you might have been talking to McIntosh, but you said on the pod, Fight Factory Wrestling, there's just something different about it. It's a different feel. Obviously, Sturch, Payne. You and Tommy D were going at it. What was it about Fight Factory show, you think?
Well, I remember talking to Macintosh, and I knew this was coming for a while because I Payne is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So is Sturgio, not just in the ring, but out of the ring. And I remember Payne was telling me, I don't even know if I knew Sturgio was involved at this point, but a while ago, when Payne was at my gym, he was telling me that they were planning something. And I was like, okay, cool. Keep me posted whenever. And Macintosh went to their first show. And Macintosh was like, dude, the show was really cool. And, the work that they put into it. And when I went to the show in July, and first again, I was like, holy shit, this is nice. Like the setup, the atmosphere they created. Credit to them, they don't take anything lightly. They have the details covered between the lights, the camera, getting really good commentators like Peter Rosado
Gino
and
Gods.
yeah, exactly, Gino and a few others. It was just a really cool atmosphere, and
Nice.
also being right there on the beach. I felt like I was at like a WCW show
Yeah.
from back in like the '90s, early 2000s, like Bash at the Beach, or yeah, it was just like such a cool, like it was the atmosphere, or it
Is
is
there
the atmosphere.
you talk about wrestling on the Jersey Shore? Is there any other venues that stick out for you? You wrestled at?
Oh, the main venue, and there's a lot of guys who've made history at the venue. I know you've been there plenty of times. Is the Rahway Rec Center?
Yeah.
That is like for so many people. I don't want to say it's the Garden, but like
Yeah.
you know, some people might compare it to that for them and for where they're at in their careers, and I would be one of them. Like, no offense to a lot of other companies, they do great stuff, but uh, being in that building, like I tell people who don't go to wrestling shows when they come to one, I was like, when you go to a Rahway show for WrestlePro, it's going to be a different atmosphere. Like, it's going to look different, it's going to feel different. To get individuals to go, whether they're friends, family, clients of mine from personal training, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I know they're not just talking about the in-ring product, they're talking about, again, to go back to it, the atmosphere that's created. Like
Yeah.
that, it doesn't just feel like you're at any other indie show between the stage, the curtains, the music, the lights and whatnot. So definitely that building stands out. And in Glassboro, in Jersey, there's a lot of memories in the building, and it's escaping my name. I feel like there is actually more a name to the building, and I can't think of it. But it was in Glassboro. I got a lot of reps in
Nice.
with a company called OTW. They were running shows every Saturday, so that was a place where if as long as if we showed up, whoever it was, me, and a few others from WrestlePro, if we showed up, we were getting on the card. And
Nice.
for us, it was like another rep.
Yeah.
So I owe a lot to that company and to Brian Johnson, who's doing big things right now in the Indies. Like he
Yeah.
was a guy who was booking us, and I had a lot of good matches with guys like Adam Chandler, with Brian Johnson and whatnot, and a few others that, like that building did a lot for me. Not necessarily because it was like, oh, some fancy building, but just because of how I was able to grow as a performer through working for them.
Is there like any WrestlePro moments that stand out? Obviously winning the silver championship, but you've done so much in WrestlePro. Is there anything else that stands out?
The Silver Championship win against Maff was a big
Yeah.
one. Getting to wrestle Maff in Rahway was a big one, to be with the history that he's created in that building. Um, like for Jersey All
Yeah.
Pro, all the shows, all the guys that he's had matches and moments with, and for me to be somewhere in there was big. Like you brought up earlier, that cross promotion TNA show
Mhm.
was huge, and actually, most recently, we have one coming up at the time of this recording. It's November. So we have one coming up November 23rd. I'm on that show. I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Nice.
But most recently, September 21st of this year, again, at the time of this recording, 2025, I was part of, and I didn't expect to be,
Yeah.
the Killer Smoke show, where Killer Cross and Scarlett, it was one of their first stops for in-ring competition post leaving WWE,
Yeah.
like less than a month from SummerSlam when
Yeah. I think
Cross
there was
wrestled
that
Sammy.
second indie appearance since.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think before that, Cross was in like Seattle,
Yeah.
and then he was with us. And getting a chance to be on that show, to make my return home, not just to WrestlePro, but to WrestlePro in that building. And I had some people there in attendance that very close friends of mine. So to have all that, to see
Yeah.
their reaction to the show, they'd never been to WrestlePro, they'd never been to the Rec Center. To be on a show as big as with Cross, who's somebody I'm a big fan of, to be on the card again with Maff and Donovan and Gio and Bear Bronson and whatnot. That was just a special night to be able to get back in the ring um, in that building,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mentioned in trios, the last thing I want to ask you, when this drops, I think around this time I'm going to drop the episode with them. But do you remember the idea? I didn't ask him how you got paired with the Graysons, because that was for like a cup of coffee, but you went to Alaska and everything and you were with them.
Yep. It was me, Vicki,
Yep.
Vicious Vicki, who's now Vicki Venuto, and yeah, the Graysons, who did they change their name again?
Yeah, they're the Backseat Boys now.
They're still the Backstreet Boys?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot if they changed it back at all. Two great kids.
Yeah.
Love Justin and Tommy. We were there was an idea for us to be together, and then we just clicked and came into our own. I haven't
Nice.
seen them in a while, but I still consider them good friends. Vicky's a good friend, and it just worked.
Nice.
Like with my style, like they built the group kind of around me.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
But it gave Tommy and Justin and Vicky a spot as well.
Nice.
And we really did want to do whatever we can do at the time to elevate that group. We called it the collection. Um, One of the reasons why we did was, well, we were obviously a collection of individuals, duh. But we also are big collectors outside of the ring. Like we legitimately collect, actually.
Are you a
So
big Batman guy like them?
yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm just a bigger Batman fan.
Oh, okay. It's
So
hard. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's one of the collections. I'm not. I hope you could see it pretty
Yeah. Oh,
well.
yeah.
So that's just one of them. There's a bunch of shit behind me. That wall has a lot of Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Star Wars. That wall
Yeah.
has random art of Star Wars and Batman. There's another Batman
Wow.
shelf back there. There is stuff literally all over my apartment, whether
Wow.
it's Batman, Star Wars, horror. I've got a gigantic horror collection going now. Like this arm, there's a Batman. Where is it? Like a Batman from the Batman, and like
Yeah.
a Riddler tattoo. There's the Dark Knight logo back there on
Nice.
this arm. There's Long Legs, the
Okay.
horror movie. For any, did you see Weapons?
No.
Okay, Weapons is like my most obsessed horror movie right now,
Okay.
and I plan on adding more characters to this arm. And for those that have seen Weapons, Aunt Gladys, she's going to go on this arm at some point.
Nice.
That's actually not that this is such a big deal, but recently one of my catchphrases, I guess you could say, has been "Are you watching?" At the end of one of the videos Tommy made for me, my hand is like scratching down a wall. My One of my good friends recorded it. Tommy edited it and cut it, and he just put "Are you watching?" So that was one of those things where it's like not like Liv Morgan, like just watch me, but it
Yeah.
was more like, "Are you watching? Are you listening?" Because you want to pay close attention, not just to what I'm saying, but to what I'm doing. Um, so, I know I went off the rails. You asked me about the collection,
That's
and I
fine.
jumped into other
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, that was inspiration from Weapons, from
Okay.
the Gladys character. Anybody who's a horror fan should absolutely watch the movie. It's my movie of 2025 thus far.
Nice.
So pulling some of that forward into the character, it's like a little bit of me. So the collection, literally, we're all collectors. Vicky collects as well.
Nice.
And then just kind of we fuse that, and I'm fusing stuff that I'm into out of the ring into what I'm doing now as well. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Nikos, I can't thank you enough. I've said it this interview. Thank you for everything over these past like 8 years. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see what next year holds for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know what, too? Big shout out to you because how old are you now?
I just turned 20
When did I meet you?
when I was 12 years old. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's funny. You sent me the pictures earlier of us from shows. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I sent it to one of my good friends. I was like, here, you want a blast from the past? Like, I'm like, this is it right here.
Yeah.
I've sent her pictures of me wrestling from years ago, but this was like me, just in a regular t-shirt and whatnot. I was like, this is the kid who's interviewing me. I was like, he's like a
Wow.
man now.
Yeah.
So to your credit, and I won't say what, but before we started recording, we were talking about what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it's really impressive what you're doing, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So you've come a long way, and it absolutely sounds like you've got, in a good way, a long ways to go, meaning more to explore and whatnot. And I'm excited to see what you do.
Yeah, I think I used to tell you, like, I used to bail on friends and stuff to watch WrestlePro shows, like, when I was, like, in 8th or ninth grade, like, freshman in high school, like, hey, I don't want to party or anything. I want to watch you guys wrestle instead. So, seriously, thank you for everything.
I appreciate that. It's worth it all.
Yeah,
Fortunately, there hasn't been any major injuries. There's been
nice.
some, nothing crazy, knock on wood,
Yeah,
but it's all been worth it,
yeah.
So again, like I said before, if I can impact somebody and they can remember me or take memories with them going forward, then I mean you're like living proof of it. And I'm excited to see what you do next with your career.
Thank you, Nikos, for doing this. And thank you, everybody, for watching the episode. This was Best for Business.
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to be something that necessarily can make it into the podcast to show people how far Chris Sanders has come, but I do have it. I do have the picture. To Nikos Rikos from Chris Dust 310 with the official Chris signature. This is dated January 20th, 2019. And there I am. Good old Nikos Rikos. And he looks better than I do. He looks more handsome. My legs might be a little bigger than him, but ultimately, yeah, this is it. So, impressive.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.